friends, I am from chemistry faculty of QLS Academy. Today we are going to learn about versatile nature of carbon and we will also try to understand the different types of compounds formed by carbon. Hope you will enjoy today's lesson. So let's get started with our today's lesson. Now we are aware of the presence and importance of carbon in our life. Carbon is not only present in the objects we use, but we ourselves are also made up of carbon. Compounds formed by carbon outnumbers the compounds formed by all other elements put together. Currently, there are over 3 million carbon compounds known to us, which are definitely going to increase in coming times. There are two reasons behind this versatility of carbon. First, carbon has the unique ability to form bonds with other atoms of carbon, giving rise to a large number of molecules. This property of carbon is called as catenation. The compounds formed may have long chains of carbon or branch chains of carbon or even can have carbon atoms arranged in rings. Bonds involved in the formation of those compounds are all covalent in nature. These covalent bonds can be single, double or triple bonds. Except for carbon, no other element exhibits this extraordinary property of catenation to this extent. Though silicon, also having a valency of 4, can form compounds with hydrogen having chains up to 7 or 8 atoms. But these compounds are very reactive and hence are unstable. The bonding between carbon atoms is very strong and hence the carbon compounds are stable, and that's why carbon can give rise to such a large number and types of compounds. The second reason for the versatile nature of carbon is its tetravalency. Now, since carbon has a valency of 4, it is capable of bonding with 4 other atoms of carbon or atoms of other monovalent elements at the same time. Monovalent element means ऐसा element जिसकी valency 1 है. कार्बन के 4 वैलेंसी को फुलफिल करने के लिए या तो कार्बन 4 मोनोवैलेंट एटम्स के साथ बॉन्ड फॉर्म कर सकता है लाइक इन मीथेन, और इट कैन फॉर्म 2 डबल बॉन्ड्स विद 2 बाइवैलेंट एटम्स लाइक इन CO2 कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, और carbon can form a triple bond with a trivalent atom and a single bond with a monovalent atom like in ethyne C2H2. अब ट्रिपल बॉन्ड, अब आप बोल सकते हैं कि कार्बन कार्बन के बीच में 4 बॉन्ड्स भी बन सकते हैं. नो, दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल. मैक्सिमम नंबर बॉन्ड्स विच कैन बी फॉर्म्ड बिटवीन 2 एटम्स इज 3. ट्रिपल बॉन्ड से ज़्यादा बॉन्ड्स किसी भी एटम के बीच में फॉर्म नहीं होते हैं. So, the bottom line is, कार्बन की पूरी 4 valencies fulfill होनी चाहिए. All the 4 valencies must be fulfilled to form a stable compound of carbon. Carbon forms compound with oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, chlorine and many other different elements. The properties of those compounds depend on the element carbon has combined with. The bonds formed between carbon and other elements are also very strong. Hence, those compounds are also very stable. The reason behind the strong bond formation by carbon is its small size. Small size enables the nucleus to strongly hold on to the shared pair of electrons. अब कार्बन का जो साइज होता है वो एकदम परफेक्ट होता है, ना तो बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा होता है ना ही बहुत ज़्यादा छोटा होता है. इट इज़ परफेक्ट साइज. तो ये जो भी शेयर्ड पेयर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है वो इसको एफिशिएंटली होल्ड कर सकता है. एक पॉजिटिव चार्ज का एक स्फीयर होता है, यहाँ पे पॉजिटिव चार्ज है. जैसे जैसे हम न्यूक्लियस से दूर जाते जाएंगे उसका इफेक्टिव रेंज कम होता जाएगा. सो कार्बन का साइज एकदम परफेक्ट है. इट इज़ नीदर वेरी स्मॉल नॉर वेरी लार्ज, so it can strongly and efficiently hold on to this shared pair of electrons. Depending on the type of bond used by carbon to form a compound, carbon compounds are broadly classified as saturated and unsaturated compounds. The compounds of carbon which are formed by linking its constituent atoms by single bonds only are called as saturated compound. ऐसे compounds जिनमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ single bonds ही present है उन्हें हम कहते हैं saturated compounds. For example, methane, ethane, propane and etc. And now, the compounds of carbon which have double or triple bonds between the carbon atoms are called as unsaturated compounds. These compounds are more reactive than the saturated compounds. For example, ethene, ethyne and benzene. Now, let's talk about the structure of these compounds. You are provided with the formula. Now, you are supposed to deduce the structure of the compound. डायमंड, ग्रेफाइट एंड फुलरीन के केस में हमने देखा था कि ये सभी सिर्फ और सिर्फ कार्बन एटम से बने हैं, बट देयर वाज अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस इन देयर अपीयरेंस एंड अदर फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज. Those differences arose from the difference in the arrangement of carbon atoms. So, knowing the structure of a compound is very important to understand its properties. Commonly, we use two methods for the diagrammatic representation of the sharing of electrons between atoms of carbon compound. हम किसी भी compound का structure दो तरह से present कर सकते हैं. First one is the electron dot structure. First, let's draw the electron dot structure of methane CH4. So, सबसे पहले हम carbon draw करेंगे. So, in the center you can see a pink colored circle. This pink circle represents carbon, and all the X's you are seeing there are the valency shell electrons of carbon. Now, we will draw the 4 hydrogen atoms. The blue spheres you are seeing here are all hydrogen atoms, and the small dots you see are the electrons present in the hydrogen. Each hydrogen atom satisfies one valency of the carbon atom. Similarly, we can draw the electron dot structure of ethene C2H4. Here also, we will first draw carbons. यहाँ पे हम दो spheres draw करेंगे. Both will represent carbon. So, the pink spheres you see here are carbon, and you can see that there are 4 X's present in the overlapping region. So, यहाँ पे two pair of X's है, means 4 X's present है. So, they represent the double bond, 2 shared pair of electrons. And now, we will draw the hydrogens. We have 4 hydrogens. So, we will draw 4 hydrogen, 2 for each carbon. So, here blue spheres represent hydrogen, and the dots you can see in them are the electrons shared by them. Each hydrogen atom is satisfying one valency of each carbon atom. Here, the bond between the carbon is a double bond, while the bond formed between hydrogen and carbon atoms are single bonds. Since double bond is involved, ethene is an unsaturated compound. The second method to draw the structure of a compound is to use line diagram or the skeletal formula. Here, lines are used to show the formation of bonds by sharing of electrons. A single line means single bond, double line means double bond, and 3 consecutive lines means triple bond. Now, let's draw the skeletal diagram for ethane. We know the chemical formula of ethane, C2H6. So, we know that there are 2 carbons in the molecule. The very first step is to write down the carbon atoms. हम सबसे पहले carbon atoms को single bond के साथ link करेंगे. Ethane में 2 carbon होते हैं, हम 2 carbon लिखेंगे और उन्हें एक single bond से link करेंगे. Now, out of 4, 1 valency of the carbons is satisfied. अब carbon की remaining 3 valencies को fulfill करना है. So, to complete remaining 3 valencies, we combine each carbon with 3 hydrogen atom. This gives us the complete skeletal diagram for ethane. Now, let's try to draw a diagram for ethene C2H4. Its structure prediction will also go in the same way as of ethane. First, we will write down the carbons joined by single bond, then we will try to fulfill the remaining valencies with hydrogen atom. But in this case, we are coming short on hydrogen. यहाँ पे हमारे पास hydrogen कम है. हमने पहले 2 कार्बन को single bond के साथ link किया. फिर हमने 4 hydrogen atoms थे. हमने 2 hydrogen atom each carbon को allot किए. But 1 valency is still unfulfilled. There isn't enough hydrogen atoms to complete all the 3 valencies of a carbon atom. After putting all the available hydrogens in the place, we get this structure. But as you can see, valency of carbon atoms is still not satisfied. Carbon को अभी भी एक और electron की ज़रूरत है. एक और shared pair of electron की ज़रूरत है. The remaining 1 valency can only be satisfied if there is a double bond between the 2 carbon atoms. So, after the formation of double bond, we get the final structure of ethene. Similarly, we can draw the structure for ethyne. Carbon की valency सिर्फ hydrogen से complete नहीं हो सकती है. So, to satisfy the remaining 3 valencies, carbon atoms form triple bond between themselves. Till now, हमने जितने भी carbon compounds देखे हैं, सभी के structure में एक similarity. The carbon backbone was linear. Carbon atoms एक straight line में arranged थे. This type of arrangement where the carbon backbone is linear is called as chain form. It is not necessary the carbon atoms always arrange themselves in a straight chain form. हमेशा chain form में ही present होना ज़रूरी नहीं है. Some sometimes the carbon backbone is also branched. उसमें branching भी हो सकती है, उसमें से branches निकले हो सकते हैं. The carbon skeleton or the carbon backbone of butane compound with 4 carbon atoms can be of two different types. One straight chain and the other one branched. Both of these compounds are butane with the same chemical formula C4H10. ये दोनों ही linear form में और branched form में C4H10 butane ही है, but since their structures are different, they are called as structural isomers. Apart from straight and branched carbon chain, some compounds also have their carbon atoms arranged in the form of a ring in a cyclic form. Cycle के form में भी present होते हैं. For example, cyclohexane. Here you can see that all the carbons are arranged in a cycle in the form of a hexagon, and each carbon, two valencies of each carbon are fulfilled by the other two carbons, while the remaining two valencies are fulfilled by hydrogen atoms. Straight chain, branch chain and cyclic carbon compounds all may be saturated or unsaturated. Like ethene, ethyne are examples of straight chain unsaturated compounds, while benzene has a cyclic structure with 3 double bonds. This is an unsaturated cyclic compound. All these carbon compounds which contain just carbon and hydrogen are called hydrocarbons. ऐसे carbon compounds जिसमें सिर्फ carbon और hydrogen ही present है, उन्हें हम hydrocarbons कहते हैं. The saturated hydrocarbons are called alkanes. ऐसे compounds जिनमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ single bond ही present है, उन्हें हम alkanes कहते हैं. Name of each saturated hydrocarbon end with ane, like methane, ethane, propane, butane, and so on. The unsaturated hydrocarbons which contain one or more double bonds are called alkenes. Name of each unsaturated hydrocarbon end with ene, like ethene, propene, butene, hexene, and so on. Those unsaturated hydrocarbons containing one or more triple bonds are called alkynes. Name of such hydrocarbons end with ine, like ethyne, butane, and etc. So hydrocarbons दो तरह के हो सकते हैं, saturated and unsaturated. Saturated वो होते हैं जिनमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ single bond present होते हैं, and unsaturated वो होते हैं जिनमें at least one double bond or at least one triple bond present हो. The saturated hydrocarbons are called alkanes, while the unsaturated containing double bond are called alkenes, and the unsaturated one containing triple bonds are called alkynes. So friends, this was all for today's class. Today we learned the reason behind the versatile nature of carbon. We also learned about hydrocarbons and how can we determine whether a hydrocarbon is saturated or unsaturated from just its name. In next class, we will learn what type of compounds carbon form by binding with different elements. Hope you had fun learning about carbon. If you have any doubt or need any further information, you can visit the following given link.